Let's check back in with Capcom for a new look at an upcoming heavy hitter.
Oh my gosh, it's Street Fighter 6 time. Capcom, heavy hitter, please. Yes. Metro City. Yes, this is it. This is the moment. Oh, I can't wait. We've got Hugo. Dang, Capcom logo looking cool.
When you go looking for strength,
Luke on
it's
the
not
bags.
like a game. This journey doesn't have a real ending. Okay then, hope you're ready to begin.
Oh my gosh.
If you want to start off on the right foot in this city, hit the streets.
Yeah, hey there, I do this. Never feel loose. And when I get up in the game, y'all be improved. A real problem, but I saw
I'm getting goosebumps. Got Mike Tiger up there.
Yeah, y'all wanna win, let me spin, boy. I'm done inside, I'm super fly like I'm hanging off the rim, boy. I've been winning for my kids.
Or you can.
And I put on for my city from the
Got
intro.
an action adventure game. Right? Ooh, and one tiny glimpse of. Oh, wow, Chun-Li. Yeah, there's Ryu, dude. Oh, awesome. Wow. Dang, this is what I wanted today.
The top player is here.
Let me have some fun.
Ready? Then show me.
This will be a good fight.
Ryu and Chun-Li. Yeah, here we go. Nice. Oh, I'm so happy right now. That's cool. That looks cool. Dang. He had a different stance. Ryu was a little more vertical for that. Got the ink splashes back, but a little bit different. Like on Street Fighter 4.
Secret art.
Yeah. Street Fighter 6, baby. Yes. Oh my god. Any kind of window? Oh, I love that sound. Your moment. PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4. Coming 2023. Oh, dang. Goosebumps. Chills.
That was your first look at Street Fighter 6 gameplay. Mark your calendars, it comes to PS5 and PS4 in 2023. Now it's time for two indie adventures arriving later this year.
Okay, Street Fighter 6. Whew, I gotta say, that's what I wanted the most today, and I am so excited for it. It did look good, but I had a moment in it when I was like, this doesn't look as good as I think it could be. And the interesting thing is, of course, it said PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, which if they made it with the intention of running on presumably Xbox One and PlayStation 4 as well, that could potentially hold back the size and scope and how big and how far they could push PlayStation 5 and theoretically the Xbox Series S and X versions, right? As opposed to making it just for these 9th gen consoles. But the game is still a year or so out. I'm sure that they used the best footage that they could, the most up-to-date footage, probably as
She
of a
set
couple of
out
months
to
ago
record
in
life
that
at the
demo
end of this season.
of the PlayStation 5 version.
To
But
make it
even
real
that will
for
get
people in
better
the
looking.
future.
So in
She
some
asked
moments
us
it
about
looked
living together.
really good quality visuals, and some
We asked her
I was like,
about
this is like a
traveling
little bit
alone.
better than PS, the Street Fighter 5. So
When the season turns,
I
what
guess
will
that's
remain?
kind of why it sort of explains itself. It's coming out on
Only
PS4 and
what she
PS5. So it will
saw,
be interesting to see
what she
if this
captured.
one makes it to your Xbox One, Xbox Series, And
She
Nintendo
carries the
Switch.
sounds of the season with her.
Because there isn't a reason why Street Fighter V couldn't run on other consoles. It's just that Sony funded it, which is why it was a PlayStation 4 exclusive.
The way
and then,
she listened
of course,
made you want to
could be
tell her
played on
everything.
PS5. Now it did come to PC, but
I got to look in her
console-wise, it
journal.
was just for PS4.
The world was
And
telling her
Nintendo,
its
that was
secrets.
cool.
I think she even figured out what will happen to us.
That whole
When the
open
season
world
ends.
running around element is neat, and I do have
Is
something
it going?
that once this is over, I'm going to share some
Is it
expanded thoughts on
gone?
that. Okay. That was exciting. Wow. I said that I had some more to say on Street Fighter 6, in particular, that open world segment. So this is kind of fun. Way back in some of the earlier days of E3, I pitched to Capcom this idea of having an action-adventure Street Fighter game. I was really a big fan of Street Fighter 2, the animated movie, and I just thought, how terrific would it be to have a Street Fighter Origins game that took you through the story of Street Fighter, and you could play as Ryu and Ken, and it would be, you know, in Japan, in Master Goken's dojo, traveling through the nature parts of the world, you know, going through the woods, fetching water, doing these different tasks for Goken. You would have these gameplay segments that were combat driven, and then just other gameplay elements that were more action adventure driven. And what I mean by that is a little bit of a mix up in the actual controls, the gameplay combat. You know, if you were competing against one another, Ryu and Ken, it would be side to side, perhaps in a typical Street Fighter view. But as you're venturing out and going into the city and experiencing what is the rest of the outside world of Japan like, you know, potentially fighting bad guys, thugs in the streets, then it would be more of this, not to say fully open world, but a combat of a third-person perspective, action-adventure type of combat game, right? And it would take you basically through the events, and you'd have underground fights and stuff like that, and visit, you know, different neighboring countries until you get through the Street Fighter tournament, and you'd have to, you know, separate Ken and Ryu's story from that point on, and go and fight Sagat and stuff like that. So this was a pitch that I had to Capcom back in the day, and it was considered, which is pretty awesome. And not to say that this is that necessarily, but this does have some elements of it. I actually picked a good spot. When we look at this, when I saw this just a few minutes ago, and I saw a certain character walking around, going through
When you go looking
the
for
streets,
strength,
I thought,
it's not like a game.
I know exactly
This
where
journey
I've seen
doesn't
this
have a
before
real ending.
in a conversation that I had.
Okay then, hope you're ready to begin. You want to start off on the right foot in this city. Hit the streets.
Yeah, hey there I do this, never fear lose. And when I get up in the game, y'all be improved. A real problem, but I solve them all face proof. And if you think I'm going forward, then you talking fool. Yeah, y'all wanna win, let me spin, boy. On the side, I'm super fly,
Yep.
like I'm hanging off the rim, boy. I've been winning for my kinfolk, and I put on for my city from the intro. Fight!
So that right there could be, you know, your own character that you made. We don't see the face in it, so it could be someone from Street Fighter lore in a hoodie, or it could be you, right? So now at this point, we're just watching over again.
The top player is here.
Let me have some fun.
Ready? Then show me.
This will be a good fight.
Okay, it looks really cool. It looks good. And it does look better than Street Fighter V. It just, in some moments, I'm like, a little bit better. Some moments, it's some of the closer up shots, more stylized. Like, oh man, there's a lot more texture fighting. See that right there? That was what I was talking about earlier. That right there was a very different frame of animation. Let's see if I can find it. Okay, yeah, he's releasing a Hadoken from not quite a full front stance perspective. He's got his weight distribution somewhat in the middle, not all the way forward. It's not charged back in a back stance. He's releasing it right there. Yeah, and he doesn't go forward all the way. This leg right here is not stretched out, and his body is not here, it's back here. So that's like a quick recovery Hadoken. That's kind of cool. Interesting, different. Later on in the video, we do see that he had, well, it's not that far. We do see that, we could just play it. That he had a more traditional Hadoken. Okay, I think it was right there. Let's see if we could get that. Just to clarify that he does indeed have fireballs of a regular stance. Okay, legs more straight. He leaned forward more to shoot it, and there you go. Cool background, nice detail. I wonder why Ryu's got his abs bandaged up there. He's got this blanket on. I like Chun-Li's outfit being slightly different. Something in here was where I thought, kind of Street Fighter 5-ish in graphics quality, despite it being, zoomed in and stylized, but the zoomed in and stylized look helped it prior. Here is where, I don't want to say it hurt it in a bad way, but here's where I thought, a little bit downgraded graphics. However, I did like the ink splashes reminiscent of Street Fighter 4. Yeah, the polygon model earlier, not as good. But then it goes back to being more solid.
My secret art.
Street Fighter 6.
Pretty rad. So I think I'm gonna go in here, and let's see. Anything else? Online multiplayer requires a PlayStation Plus membership, etc. Access Game Center from here. So you'll be walking around in the hub, presumably in a 3D open manner, and then traveling throughout the world in different countries. Underground fights and tournaments. Yeah, it's not to say exactly like how I envisioned and pitched it to Capcom back in the day, but pretty darn close. Like, I knew exactly what they were going for when I saw it because, even though the scenes weren't identical to what we discussed and laid out, that is basically it. Pretty cool. They also tweaked at the logo a bit. It's a little bit more GameCube-like in a way. The letter G and the letter 6 are kind of similar. Street Fighter 6 is very different. This is not a VI. This is your typical number 6. Kind of wish, honestly, it was a PlayStation 5, Xbox Series console exclusive, and Nintendo Switch 2 for that matter, potentially, and PC, and not, on the base like PS4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, lower end PCs, because I want the game to, I want it to do well. So it's a little bit of a conflict because in order to do really well, you want to be on as many platforms as possible, but I also want it to be this powerful next-gen like experience, and if it does exist on Nintendo Switch, PS4, which it does, and Xbox One, which we'll see, and lower-end PCs, it's potentially held back slightly from as big of a vision as they could have. But then again, the game's coming out a year from now, It could be like a July 2023 or a November 2023 release. So it's got, 13 to 16 plus months more of development time. This build was probably from like February, if I had to guess, March, something along those lines. So chances are the game is going to look a lot better between now and when it releases. But I'm stoked. I hope that it is multi-platform, but I will definitely be picking this one up day one on PlayStation 5. All right, those are my extended thoughts. Overall, this was a terrific state of play. Thank you so much for watching. This is Paul Gale from PaulGaleNetwork.com. This is Paul Gale from PaulGaleNetwork.com signing out. Got tongue-tied there for a bit. Hope you all have a good one. I'll see you next time. Be sure to drop some comments in the comment section below, whether you're watching on YouTube or on Paul Gale Network. I appreciate it, and I look forward to responding back. All right, have a good one. Take it easy. Bye.